Hello. We're back. I didn't do another video, but this is the next day today. So we're gonna do like 3 more videos and where we left off. So here we go. Thank you guys for watching and hear how it is. But I wanted to light this first before I have my put some incense on. I think it's off, but this is a Saint Paul. Paulo. Oh shit! But it smells really good. Really good. Before we read this ancient text. Yeah, I was burning it up, the match too. So. Smells really good. Thank you, God. Smells really fresh, like a lot of oxygen. Let the spirits guide us. So I have this one too, the St. Paul, but I put some diamonds, or not diamonds, but crystals, gems, that this miner goes mining. He's on YouTube, but he sent me a diamond too. But yeah, that's that. And I put a quartz crystal right here at the top, but this glue that I use, it keeps like falling off, you know? So I need to put it back on with some better glue. But I'll turn this off. So put some of the ash. Okay, so here we go. A trip to Peru and more Dogon evidence. I first came upon this Dogon information in 1982 or 83. I found myself around a group of people who were working with the Dogon tribe, who were actually going through there and communicating with them in 1985, I took a group of people to Peru, including one of these Dogon researchers. We checked into a plush hotel in Cusco called the Hotel San Agustin, intending to go walking the following day on the Inca Trail, about 40 miles over the mountain tops. You walk up to about 14,000 feet, then drop down to Machu Picchu, about 5,000 feet below. It's beautiful. Our hotel was a Spanish adobe palace hidden behind high walls in the center of town. We were paired off so we could get cheaper rates. I was with the Dogon researcher, and he was constantly telling me about what they were learning, including a lot more than we're discussing here. You could only imagine all the stuff, like, you know, you can only convey so much information. So through a book, like just gotta like send him telepathically. We got a room, and the room number was 23. 23, like that Jim Carrey movie. He got all excited and acclaimed room 23, a very auspicious number. From Africa, where the Dogons live, the star Sirius disappears below the horizon and is out of sight for a couple of months. Then it appears again on the morning of July 23rd. I didn't know that. When it rises about... I probably forgot when I read this. Yeah. When it rises about 1 minute before the sun, it appears bright ruby red, just above the horizon, almost exactly due east. 60 seconds later, the sun emerges, so you can see Sirius for just a moment. Then it's gone. This is called the Heliacal rising of Sirius, which was a very important moment for most of the ancient world, not just for the Dogon and Egypt. So they could see that. That's when it would pop up. This is the moment when Sirius and the sun and earth are in a straight line across space. In Egypt, almost all the temples were aligned with this line, including the gaze of the Sphinx. Many of the temples had a tiny hole in the wall somewhere. Then there would be another tiny hole, some dim inner chamber. In that chamber there would be something like a cube or golden mean rectangle or granite sitting in the middle of the room with a little mark on it. At the moment of the Heliacal rising of Sirius, a ruby red light would strike the altar for a few seconds, which would begin their new year and the first day of the ancient Celtic calendar of Egypt. Anyways, here we are in Peru, getting the room and remarking about the number 23. We walked into the room and sat our things down. Then we both looked at the bed, and on the bedspread we saw this image. The figure I'll show you guys right now. We stood there in amazement, looking at it for about 5 minutes. So the figure is the ones I showed you on the last, the little fish, amphibious creatures. Before we could even speak, because the wheels in our heads were going around so fast, trying to figure out how this could be. If you look again at this image of the beings who got out of the flying saucer, they look very similar. They were half and half out of water, air-breathing mammals, and their tail fins were horizontal, not vertical, like fish. The only sea creatures with such fins are cetaceans, such as dolphins and whales. But the Dogon image is from Africa, and here we are in Peru, staring at a very similar looking mammal. This just didn't compute, so we asked the hotel personnel, "What do you know about this emblem?" They didn't know much. They were mostly of Spanish descent and weren't tied much into Indian legends. They didn't know the old stories of creation, so they had no idea what it meant. Here's a picture of the whole insignia. So I'll show you guys again. It's like the fish. In order to find out more, we rented a car and drove around the area asking other people. We finally ended up at Lake Titicaca, talking to some Uros Indians. At one point I asked, "What do you know about this?" They said, "Oh yeah," and proceeded to tell me a story what sounded very much like the Dogons had to. This is their creation story. A flying saucer came out of the sky and landed in Lake Titicaca on the island of the sun. This dolphin-like creature jumped into the water, came up to the people, told them where they came from, and in the beginning, an intimate relationship with the pre-Inca peoples. It was this connection which the Sky people, according to the story, that launched the Inca Empire. So you hear that? Like, these stories are like all over the world, you know? And in Greek mythology too, you know, the mermaids, the sirens, and all them. So I just sat there with my mouth open afterwards. Simply Living magazine out of Australia published a whole series of articles on this subject. When people started investigating, they found that cultures all over the world have similar stories. There are 12 different cultures in the Mediterranean alone that tell a similar story. See? We'll come back to the dolphins a lot in this work because it seems they played a huge role in the unfoldment of consciousness on this planet. All right, I'm gonna pause that for a second. That's a little video for now. It's a little short. Thank you.